and 3 notes. Hi everybody, welcome to the first ever Burnt Tongue and Corporeal Writing mashup. A couple of words about Burnt Tongue. We've been here for 4.5 years in this location as a quarterly reading, and it's been absolutely wonderful, and it's all about Tom Spandauer and Dangerous Writers. And that's how I started this reading 4+ years ago. So I just want to give a shout out to anybody and everybody who's ever been touched by Tom's words, Tom's teachings, Tom's wisdom, Tom's spirit, and he's an amazing, amazing man. So thank you for being here for that. And I feel like this is kind of serendipitous that I had chose to start doing some things differently with this reading and expand and open up to other people coming in, even more so than normally. And after the events of last Tuesday, this is more needed than ever, every Tuesday. So, you know, whether there's divine intervention or whatever it is, this is going to be different than it's ever been. I just know it. So thank you for being here. And corporeal, I will tell you a little bit about corporeal writing. Corporeal writing is, it's not just a workshop experience. It's kind of a movement for people who like. It's kind of a revolutionary movement to open up and expand our voices and put us out there. Artists and writers and creative people, this is our time. This is the time to be heard, right? So that's what I want to say. And Lydia Yuknovich is the mother of corporeal writing, the mother, father, sister, brother of corporeal writing, and is one of the loves of my life. And thank you for putting this out into the world. Yeah. I would like to introduce you to our wonderful MC, Daniel Elder, who I met a year ago in just so you know too. I teach with Lydia in corporeal writing. I started out as sort of an assistant. A few years ago I started out as like helping be the person who pushed her book toward the headpiece. And then I did a couple other things with her, some editing stuff with chiasmus. And then I did the Hope is a Press. And then, I don't have any more words. I don't know what to say about that, but. I'll give you a little response. Tell me what's for you.
So welcome everybody to episode 18 of Burnt Tongue. Previously on Burnt Tongue. Actually, I missed the last one, so I can't say. So I'm not, Dami said I could read something if I wanted, but instead I wanted to lead us in a very brief and bearable group activity. Stay with me here. I don't know about you guys, but I am just drained. And it has been a rough couple of weeks. And I could use a shot of energy. And so what I thought was that we could all join together in saying this word that binds the universe together. And I know what you're thinking, oh my god, this motherfucker is going to make me say Om. I'm not. That's the idea that Om is like the beginning of the universe, like Om, and the end is like This is not how I feel right now. Right now I feel like the universe starts kind of uncertainly, like, and it ends kind of harshly, like, and in between all of that is just this like chaos and uncertainty, which is and fuck is the greatest word in the English language. My friend Ty Phelps and I were discussing, and it's a really flexible flexible word. It can mean so many things. You can imbue it with any emotion that you want. You can say it like you were having an orgasm, like someone just cut you off, like you just stubbed your toe, like you just won the lottery. I mean, like anything, you know? So, what I'd like is I'm going to count to 3, and you're not going to do it when I say 3. It's one of these where I say 1, 2, 3, and then we do it. And you're just going to tap into whatever emotion you're feeling right now, and you're going to say, fuck. And we're just going to say fuck together, and that is going to bring us together here in this room, and that's how we're going to start things off. Because I think that's how we all feel ultimately. All right? So, take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know about you, but I really needed that. I really needed that. And I felt my fuck, and then there were all these other fucks, and all your fucks became my fuck, and I'm fucking glad. Alright. We're all fuckers, and we're gonna fuck it up. Anyway, not to completely parrot what Dami said, but it's this past Wednesday I was at the Post 134 for a literary event, and this weekend I've been spending in a corporeal writing workshop, and these things are important. We have to get together in rooms together and talk about what's important, and then we have to filter out afterwards and live our little lives in our little ways. But first we have to come together and do things like this. It seems to me more important than ever. And I think just like your fucks contain many emotions, I think we're going to hear words that contain many different emotions tonight. I'm very excited. And we're going to start things off with Dami J. Shoemaker. Is the founder of this quarterly reading series, started to honor the wonderful Tom Spanbauer, the man behind the famed Dangerous Writers Workshop. Dami has been published in Pank Magazine, Unshod Quills, Nailed Magazine, Gobshite Quarterly, and most recently in the Forest Avenue Press anthology, which is awesome, The Night and the Rain and the River. You can hear Dami on KBOO Radio's Bread and Roses archives with Leanne Krantz. And Dami worries about being a name-dropping attention whore who did a scene with Fred Armisen in Portlandia. Just Google pedicabs are douchebags and it will come up. Dami's grandest achievement so far is following their gut and stepping out of social work to become a writer. Yeah. They now facilitate the seasonal workshop series Corporeal Writing with Lydia Yuknovich.
To all the black and brown cousins, sisters, and brothers, to the queer, bi, trans, intersex, and disenfranchised, I apologize for not hearing what you've been trying to get for all these years. We who have had the luxury of participating or passing because we have that choice. I, for one, am done. And I need to tell you why. I wish it were only because I got woke or enlightened by some divine right, shining a light on the wrongs that I chose to keep in the dark, but it's not. It's because that man with those hands, I felt it was so real when he said that thing about being so rich and so famous that he could just grab a handful of pussy and the women, they would love it. I felt this in my body. I feel it now every single day since a week ago Tuesday. That's the closest I can get to what it must be like for you every fucking day. Without insulation, without anyone taking action. I want to throw up. Because what I do know is the hands, they aren't an anomaly. They're my old conservative uncle who put his hands and mouth wherever he wanted They are my old conservative uncle who put his hands and mouth wherever he wanted on and in my 4-year-old body. I was 4, and he zeroed in on that vacuum of need, created in me those times I saw my father rage at my mother, and that culminated in our leaving because we saw him carry her down the hall by her neck, her throat clenching after finding out that he was sleeping with her best friend, and infidelity, that ended in subsequent marriage. They are my teacher at 11, who carried me across the playground by my collar, with my feet kicking inches above the ground, desperate for purchase, just because I called him Mr. Turkey, like I was Vinnie Barbarino. They're the man who, when I was 12, with his hand on my thigh, tried to keep me in his buddy's split windshield Dodge van because I climbed a tree and thought I was a flying squirrel, like on Rocky and Bullwinkle, after he fed me PCP-laced Kool-Aid when I lied and said I was 13. They are that man's buddy who called my mom for the $100 we didn't have to replace the passenger side windshield window of his van when my feet kicked it out while his buddy tried to convince me not to climb back up the tree. They are the man at 13 who rubbed his Levite hard-on against my lower back and said, "You have the most beautiful breasts I've ever seen." When I was such a tomboy and had begged to wear the Oshkosh cutoff overalls I had and a t-shirt, but was sidled into, but was sidled with a swimsuit that pushed my breasts up into the thick zip code. They're my coach in my first high school, who hired me to help with the drills for the junior high basketball team, for the team I just left. The coach who picked me up and gave my drunken ass a ride home when he saw me walking down the road one night. I convinced him to drop me off at my best friend's house and not tell my mom, with the promise of a kiss. He kissed me with his tongue. I lost all interest in basketball. They're the hands of hundreds of men and women who don't disrupt, but still feel free to comment on my body, whether in praise or disgust. It isn't a wonder that these hands who believe they have a right to say and do whatever they want, that we've had to reboot and readjust over and over again just to be on this planet. To be alive and to have not killed anyone with this rage. If you think this poem is for you, the one I'm going to read, if you think this poem is for you, it is. By the time I was 6, I was at least 3 people. I don't know how it happened to me instead of you. How I split and split again, and you had to swallow that rage. Well, I grew big and bigger, then bigger again. You withdrew and went inside yourself. I found safety in loudness, in bigness, and in bright. You found solace in smallness and in silence. Our strength is born in sameness. You at the hands of your father, me at the hands of uncle, the hands who grabbed us and groped us as though we were owned and grown to be consumed. It is not just you, my love. It's her and him and them. The hands, they try to erase us with their gun-toting, money-grubbing, pussy-grabbing, systemic erasure of black and brown lives and all of us. But here we are. Our bodies in the streets, our voices in the air, our fury on the page. You will never erase us. We are indelible. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Our next reader is Alex lives in Portland, Oregon. Some of his previous work has appeared in Blue Skirt Productions, Nailed, The Nashville Review, Oregon Humanities Magazine, and War Stories 2016, an anthology on the effects of war. Please welcome Jason to the stage.
Okay, so does this work? What do I get?
Just push the button. Sorry. Push the button.
Oh, yeah, push it like 2 seconds.
No, it's okay. Nice.
They put the batteries down.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thanks, Dami. Where'd you go to? Thank you, Dami, for having me. Corporeal Riders, Dangerous Riders. Lydia Yuknovich, thanks for telling me I had a voice. My mom, my sister. I'll get on with it, yes. This piece is called Sambo Searches for Croissants in Washington. Julie and I are on the second floor of the antique mall in Snohomish, which, like most antique malls, is mysteriously bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It was probably once an old schoolhouse, but now serves as a cornucopia of old shit. We're here because we like old shit. It's possibly because we're becoming old shit. I point to a framed sepia photo of a man in a leisure suit sitting on a bench seat of a rowboat. His expression looks unsure of the boat's steadiness. The caption just says, "Man on boat." I say, "They want $45 for this?" I point to another photo of a man in waders holding a dead fish. This guy's just called Man with Fish. He looks so happy, though, Julie says. You don't see people that happy in photos back then. You think they were just depressed? I said. No, she says. I think they were more worried about looking dignified or something. Yeah, I said. On the count of 3, nobody smile. I think this is hilarious. Julie smiles and disappears into a nearby nook. You know, these places are filled with nooks. They defy physics that way. It's one of the many requirements. The nook I find myself in has old auto manuals, another requirement, and a shitload of glassware. On the top tier of a shelf to my right, half hidden behind a hand-blown decanter and a cracked crystal vase, is a framed magazine ad. In it is a black baby turning a crank handle on the side of what looks like a box of baking soda. The box and the baby are the same size. On the opposite side of the box is another baby, identical baby. The babies are both so dark they look like black hole babies. Just the absence of light, except for the exception of white eyes, and the insides of their white mouths. Pink commas represent ears on the side of their bald heads. Their lips are too red, garish red, Sambo red. The babies are naked except for their matching tutus that read gold dust across the front. The box between the babies, it isn't baking soda, it's gold dust washing powder. At the top of the box is the name Fairbanks, arching over what can only be described as a pair of 2 black midgets shown from the bare chest up. The midgets have too many facial wrinkles and hair too perfectly combed and slicked back to be the same baby standing outside of the box. Unless this is some kind of time-enhanced sketch of those babies years after they've gone missing. An unspooling reel of film was drawn coming out from under the midgets. Each frame on the celluloid shows a different use for the babies. They are their young selves again. They are scrubbing the sinks and the doors and the floors. They are crawling into the fucking oven to make it sparkle the way toothpaste teeth do in other magazine ads. The caption in the upper corner reads, "Let the Gold Dust Twins do your work." I'm trying to absorb everything on this framed page from 1916, but I can't. Partly because it's blocked by glassware, and partly because my chest feels like somebody punched into the solar plex and is waiting for me to recover before spitting in my face. And this feeling, it's the way I know I have to buy it, to own it, to look at these black babies every evening as some sort of flagellator's nightcap. And at this moment, I can only think of one item that could surpass this gold dust high I'm on. And that item, you know this, Mom, is my Poplin Fresh Pillsbury Doughboy lapel pin. The one I wore at all 24 garage sales Mom put on during the summer I was 5. The pin with the words "Love me, squeeze me, take me home" stenciled in gold lettering across the Doughboy's belly. You can laugh if you want. But that lost pin is my fucking rosebud. My line-dried laundry, the straight-up seal of my innocence. Look, during a time when Mom was being excommunicated from the Jehovah's Witnesses for having a live-in boyfriend, and experimented with various stages to talk to landlords in Grand Junction into renting an unwed woman with 2 half-breed kids, my Doughboy pin was prompting strange and wonderful ladies to pinch my cheeks and say, "I'd take you home if I could find, I'd take you home if I could turn this on." Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Where was I? I'd take you home, right, if I could, right. In a way that made me believe they would, if I wanted them to. In the antique mall, I moved a hand-blown decanter and cracked crystal base to create a black path for the black hole babies to escape. I registered the sin of disturbed doilies. Everything here smells like my grandfather's attic. Like every grandfather's attic. I hold the babies at arm's length before bringing them closer. This evil history shit is fucking poisoning me. It's the Pickaninny meteor in my backyard still emitting radiation. It's immunization shots for the exploration of dark matter. It's a bitter anachronism under a halo of hindsight, but the truth is that all these platitudes are just eloquent ways of bullshitting myself. The truth is that I'm still unsure why I've always been so influenced by the hatred and the love of strangers. Why I'm still so moved by what the Gold Dust Twins and the Doughboy represent. The way the past and the future and love and hate confuse and contort themselves inside my body. The black babies and I keep eyeing each other. We make a pact. We explore every nook and dead end and appendix and crevice of the antique mall, searching for our love me, squeeze me, take me home treasure. We relish in the hunt, digging through candy dishes, brooches and costume jewelry, rescanning layers of laid out necklaces and earrings encased in dusty display glass. We wonder who's pining away for that blue Trans Am Matchbox car with a peeling paint job. Is it you? Invite me. Who's in some other antique mall right now looking for this life-size doll that her eyes close when you tip her back, that's staring at us and won't stop? Who's looking at our Doughboy pin and thinking how completely worthless he is, how stupid he is? Instead of finding the Doughboy, we find Julie. She's perusing the corner of a nook that I'm not sure if I've already searched or not. She's holding a hobnailed dish that she doesn't own. Yet. I hold the framed twins out to her like a proud papa. Give her a second to take it all in. "Oh," she says, her eyebrows going all downward dog. "That's going in your office, right?" That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Peter. Laura Artis turns to writing to get the big questions she encounters answered, such as, why did the writer cross the road to reach the coffee shop and write? How many writers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They write by candlelight. And the meaning of life for a writer? Well, you'll have to read about it, or listen to her tell you.
Hey, let me get set up for just a sec.
Muffle that.
No. Making sure that all over there. I always want to be high. Can't, won't. Can you guys hear me? Better? How about this? And this is what happens when there's no prep involved. Okay. I'll go in a second. Thanks, Tommy, for having me here and everyone else. I always want to be high. Can't, won't, don't want to, he says. What?
Want louder?
This is just crazy. Okay, hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
It stopped. It did, okay. I'm like, oh God. Sorry, guys. Okay. It's all right. Yeah, this time's gonna work. I know it. Okay. I always want to be high. Can't, won't, don't want to, he says. What? You won't save us? I love you, he says. We died anyway. And me? I'm alone. Wondering why I keep trying something that, when over, makes me pray for death. That's the consequence of seeing possibility, witnessing it, conceding to it as it goes down. But I always want to be high. When I was young, I knew nothing of love. Every book that spoke of love, I devoured, imagining my love, my soulmate, the wonderful feelings the world held. Incredible. Like my whole pillowcase, full of treats on Halloween. Feeling the sugar run through my blood, it was awesome. So amazing, I helped myself to the contents of my brother's pillowcase. My brother, he didn't want the candy high then. He doesn't want the love drug now. My brother says, find friendship, not love. The feeling goes away. But I always want to be high. Love running through my brain, my breath, my body. And now I'm older. Now I'm supposed to be wiser. Now I worry about my ignorance towards love. When I was young, I knew nothing of love. I mean, love, like the kind I read about, came my way. I vowed never to accept less. Even though it ended, my heart shattered again and again. It opened too, again and again. I grew to know that soulmate was simply a term to hold the idea of being in love. Find friendship instead. It lasts beyond the love drug, my brother says, a married man. But I always want to be high. When I was young, I knew nothing of love. Nothing included my feelings and how far I thought they could stretch, wrap around, shield my heart and his, and his, and his. Promises of a world I felt with him, and, well, him. Dizzy with intoxication, I always want to be high. Chest pounded every time with him, and him, and him. My breath caught in my throat. I always want to be high. Forgetting where I was in his, and his arms. I always want to be high. Maybe I should trust what nearly 2 decades in marriage have taught my brother, as he says, find friendship, not the love drug. But I know one day it will end, and I'll always be high.
Thank you. All right, our next reader is Dylan Nicole Bandy. Dylan is a performance artist, writer, director, and singer. Her works have been shown internationally in Berlin, Zurich, Stettin, Norwich, Chicago, New York, and soon, Portland, Oregon. I'm not just like on Facebook, the next bio is on my phone. And it looks like I'm crying, I might be, but I have an eye injury. Anyway. Our next reader is Annie Gudger. Did I pronounce that right? Gudger, I'm sorry. Writer, dreamer, learner, storyteller, gratituder, married to a honey of a man, plus 2 fabulous grown kids, and a bonus son-in-law. Here's Annie.
Thank you. Thanks, Tommy. Beating heart. Heart. 2 bass clefs glued together. 1 backwards, 1 forward. Yeah, that's coming. Heart. 2 bass clefs glued together, 1 backwards, 1 forwards. The inner curves touching, the tails touching too. Hearts, rocks, clouds, clover petals, mussel shells laid open. The spider web I spied one fall, heart-shaped, spun by a rebel. The heart in the melting snow I almost stepped on last winter, hiking a trail. Owls faced fireworks, lightning, coarse blaze, a stain on my pants. The dregs of coffee on the bottom of my favorite Tintin mug. The marking on our best dog's head, a mostly white Brittany Spaniel with rust-colored spots. We have to pick the one with the heart, my then 5-year-old. Come on. Oops. Why I do not want to. Well, that's it. Huh.
What about the finger pad?
I have no idea why it's stuck. Oh, because I'm nervous, that's why it's stuck. I think I thought I was on my old one. Okay. We have to pick the one with the heart, my then 5-year-old and 9-year-old said. And of course they were right. Or the once broken, still here hearts, charcoal heart, a seared love note, torn moss heart that tear like a lightning bolt, a heart-shaped scar on a tree limb, Pandora's cluster in the night sky, a bruised heart shape at the center, the tiniest heart, a hummingbird heart, beats up to 1,260 times per minute, weighs less than a feather. Biggest big heart, blue whale heart, heart VW Beetle bus sized, heart half a ton sized. Human heart, that glorious muscle that beats without direction, beats on its own our whole life until it stops. Fist size, blood pumping, life sustaining, hollow muscle, 4 chambers, weighs less than a pound, guarded by breastbone heart, wet engine, rhythmic contractor, corazon purs kokoro, stretched, moved, touched, battered, broken, mended, healed, swollen, drenched in honey. You're cheating heart, don't go breaking my heart, crazy on you, total eclipse of the heart. What if the heart had a 5th chamber, or more? What would be stored? More love, more hurt, more what makes us us? People say eyes are the window to the soul. Okay, but the heart, the seat of the soul, tough and tender. No vacations, no breaks. Beats about 72 beats per minute, about 2.5 billion times in an average 66-year life. When it's had enough and wants to grab coffee or beer or something fancy, a Manhattan, a dirty martini, after pumping its whole steady no breaks life. I just need a cigarette. I swear I'll be right back, it says with a wink. Boom, you're left for dead, gutted, shriveled, heartless. I used to lie on my husband's chest and listen to his slow, steady, yummy heart, pushing blood, feeding lungs, muscles, bones, cells. His oceanic heart beat for 36 years, about 1 billion beats. I'd count up to 100, more. Some nights he'd read to me. He almost finished, surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman. And I'd count those beats in time to his words, his silky voice with that allergy rattle, his breath a little night sour. I'd count, thinking, his heart, it beats him, it holds him. It beats for him and me and this other thing, the couple. It had a big job. Then, when he was driving to the mountain for night skiing, when snow flooded the windshield, when he hit black ice in a curve, like a big sea, when his Honda Prelude slipped and spun, when headlights sliced the snow-white dark night, lights from an oncoming car, a station wagon, heavier with 4 club bouncer-sized men inside, when instinct steered the car, faced the empty passenger seat into the headlights, when he crashed, the scream of metal and glass, when his seat broke free, when his head hit the steering wheel, when he cracked his brain, when his heart stopped, dead before the man in the car behind could open his door, when what made him him, essence, spirit, whatever you called it, did the story problem and said, hell no, I'm out, and left, snap, when he floated over his mangled car and beat up body and all that blood, his atoms turned swoosh to light and heart, when his new self watched and wondered what now, wondered how he was going to hold me without a body, how he was going to let me listen to his heart that was going cold. After he died, I'd lie on my bed, sobbing, skinless, muscles and nerves pulsing, tears flooding my ear scoops, stones on my chest, buried by an avalanche of boulders, breathing through a straw, like I was some death mask in the making, breathing through a swizzle straw while the plaster dried. I'd hear the tick of my heart, feel the up and down behind my ribs, and wonder how it pumped out broken, how the once comfort beating turned to beating me up. Even when I held my breath saying, stop, will you just fucking stop? It beat, pumping, pushing, and pulling me with it. I'm not done with you, sister, it whispered. It's his death, not yours, and I'm right here.
Thanks, Amy. Celeste Gurvich is a multimedia artist who grew up on the Central Oregon coast. She lives near Reed Canyon with her husband, Andrew. Her work has been published in Perceptions, a magazine for the arts, The Manifestation, and elsewhere. Celeste is an alumni of the Dangerous Writing Workshop with Tom Spanbauer and a student of Lydia Yuknovich and Kate Gray, and an all-around awesome human being. She didn't write that, I wrote that. She is also an associate producer of the podcast On the Block Radio. If you need more of her words, you can find her on all the usual social medias. Welcome, Celeste.
Hi, everybody. It's such an honor to be back up on this stage. Dami, I'm gonna have to drop this now. Dami kind of lit a fire under me years ago when I came to my first or second Burnt Tongue. And Dami said, so, what are you gonna be reading? And I immediately had a hot flash, cold sweat, almost fell over and thought, oh, no. And then I started writing, I started studying with Lydia, and then I ended up on the stage, so thank you. And this room is a balm for my soul, and I know for so many of you, so this is even more necessary than usual. And so what I did, this is actually a Lydia workshop book, and I wrote a piece. It's kind of scribbly, so I apologize if I mess it up. Kind of apropos to what goes on in corporeal writing. And lots of this and lots of this. And this is the first thing that I wrote after the whole business. And I didn't know if I could. I'll leave the fucking business. And I didn't know if I could. I didn't feel like I was connected to my words anymore. And so who the hell knows what this is? When I wrote, it's called The Morning After the Tangerine Apocalypse. Birds and my beloved's arms around me, the things that kept me from madness, the breaking hearts of our community, the thought of my son and grandson, the indifference of the clouds and the giant red cedar in our backyard. I came out of sleep sobbing, and my love held me while I lost my shit completely for 3 hours. Tears and snot enough to go through a half roll of toilet paper. No lie. Be however you need to be, said my love. Just know I'm here for you. Eyes puffed to slits, I went to have a smoke in my backyard to let the wash of junco and crow song heal my bruised and vibrating insides. I sat for a while trying to slow the tilt-a-whirl of my brain, to go quiet but not fall into numb. And I know you'll feel me when I say, it would have been so deliciously easy to let the suck of rage and terror wind its way around my throat. So much easier to just crawl back into bed. That's how much fuck you world, I'm out. But that's what cowards do. And I've been training for this fight my whole life. Since I was 5 years old at the grocery store with my mother, a box of cereal in my hand, some sugary crap I'd seen on TV, most likely, and I was asking if we could buy it. I thought she'd say no because she didn't have enough money, which was usually the case. But she said, honey, I don't buy products from the company that makes that cereal. Dow Chemical owns factories that make other products that hurt people. Why, Mommy? What people? They make a liquid weapon called napalm that our government drops out of airplanes over a country called Vietnam, she said. My mother was big on what I now think of as information dumps, delivered with stone-cold nurse efficiency. She went on to explain to me exactly what napalm did when it fell on the people, the little children of Vietnam, and that the only reason Dow made it was for money. Lots and lots of money. So I guess you could call this my first woke moment. The first of many, considering I was raised by a child of the Bay Area 60s. Again, in the information dumps. So, yes, I've been training for this fight my whole life. It just took me a few beats to remember, through the slam and shock of the Tangerine Apocalypse. I had to honor the fear and horror and the impulse to run, let them drain away to give space for my righteous outrage. Let it draw me closer to my human family. Too much division is what has gotten us here. We need to build coalitions in the spaces between us. We need to remember that the phrase, "we are more alike than we are different," is a mantra, not a fucking cliche. And that our differences are exquisitely beautiful. We need to hold each other and make more love and more art, loud and long enough to pull us through these batshit years. There is no kumbaya, no gloom, no whatever word you can insert to dismiss it kind of statement. It is a battle cry. That love one another as yourselves stuff, turns out it's the very thing that will save us. So giddy up, comrades, lace your boots up tight and get ready for the long haul. Reach across the divide and hug a Republican. Start looking for the sacred in the eyes of everyone you meet. It is what it is going to take us. Open minds, open hearts, open eyes, and our boots on the fucking ground. Dark days, but we have each other. And that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Thank you.
Tangerine apocalypse. I'm gonna take that with me today. Wow. Our next reader is Kelly Jeske. Kelly Jeske is a queer femme, a mama, and a social worker who engages love, connection, art, and activism as agents of cultural change. Kelly's writing has appeared in several anthologies, including Who's Your Mama?, The Unsung Voices of Women and Mothers, The Adoption Constellation, Brain, Child, and Nailed magazine. Kelly was a finalist for the 2016 Orlando Creative Nonfiction Prize. Please welcome Kelly.
I started this piece in a corporeal workshop, so. Can you hear me okay? Am I talking? Okay, good. Burial. I buried it. Flat, rough, and hard against my back. The bottom of the boat rubs, presses. Under that, cool and free, water smooths against the boat and holds it up, holds me up. Blue sky fills my eyes and I swallow it down my throat with fluffy white clouds. Whatever he's doing, the sky saw it. Whatever he's doing, the lake witnessed. Whatever he's doing, my body sucked it up inside of me, covered it with layers of blood and mucus, burned it deep inside my muscles, wrapped around my bones. My body sucked it up inside of me, buried it deep inside my muscles, wrapped around my bones, hid it from my brain that remembers. Now, I'm shaken from outside in, trembling from inside out. Aching in my chest squeezes my heart against my breastbone. The inside of me is trying to rip out through my skin. Build a wall, kick them out, round them up, rip it down. Trump trundles into the brightest light and skitters around saying nothing at first. Each bit of nonsense, stacking on top of the last until he builds a tower to throw his proclamations from. And by election day, he has amassed power by waving around the weapons that were stuffed into the pockets of his soldiers. Your pussy is a goodie bag. Your skin is a target. Your love is kindling. Your need is a funeral knell. She buried it. I've spent decades with my back against the boat, my eyes full of sky. My mother and I talked about it for the first time in my 30s. She was small and sad when she told me that she and my stepdad were so worried I just wasn't acting right after the visit with my father. They took me to the doctor because I was having problems down there. Sexual abuse? Asked the doctor. I didn't hear it then, but when my mother tells me this, I shudder deep inside, and what's buried shifts just a little. I got a message from his mother on the heels of my conversation with mine. My grandmother's words are shaped by Michigan and punctuated with gasps for breath against lungs constricting and filling with mucus. She says she knows I'm mad at her, but she doesn't like the lies my mother is telling about my father, her son. She knows he's done a lot of bad things, she says, but my mother is no angel either. She says the end of the world is at hand and liars will not go to heaven. Her words swim in my head, punch them down my throat. They push into the spaces where it is hidden. She buries it down deeper. Swing set metal creaking under the weight of a wrong. Rush of storm in my belly, dry brush catching there, snapping into flame. Dirt beneath the swings, rising up, its powder sticking to my shoes, coating my legs. I grab her doll with as much force as I can gather, throw it into that dirt, pound it so hard into the ground that dust rises back up again. Stomping, soft head yielding under my shoe, squish against my arch, face crumpling, covered in powder. Stomp, 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 squish, face, body, residue. Her wails rising above our heads, spiraling there, twisting through the air, over the fence, into her mother's ear. Mother in front of me, short voice, fingers sharp into my chest, finger poking into the flames that go icy under her touch. You're in big trouble, Missy. Ice cold, frozen flames licking against my ribcage, bile rising in my throat, rage buried. We buried it. When my daughter was 7, we found a dead mouse. It was lying in the grass on its back with its limbs splayed wide. We need to bury it, she said. I asked her why. She didn't tell me about funerals or heaven or putting Mousie to bed. She didn't want to make a marker or headstone for the grave. She wanted to bury the mouse so that its flesh would decompose into the earth. She wanted to bury the mouse so that we could dig it up and look at its skeleton. She wanted to bury the mouse to see deconstruction and transformation that happens deep below the surface. We scraped and chiseled ground so hard that we only managed a shallow furrow for the mouse's tiny body. We buried it. The morning after the election, she surfaces out of sleep, uncovers her warm brown body, eyes shining. She says she fell asleep before Hillary became president. Locks eyes with me, waits. The silence pushes against us, into our throats, against our temples. She didn't win, baby. She clenches her jaw, grinds her teeth, narrows her eyes, brown eyes small. She squeezes her hands into fists, growls. I will punch Donald Trump in the face. Eyes float behind tears, lips pressed together. I say words. Justice, together, work, change. She softens her face, says, I bet he loves his family. Bury us and shield your eyes from the brilliance that erupts through the surface of the shit you've piled on top of us. Bury us beneath your probing and groping and terrorizing to witness the alchemy of love and rage. Bury us so deep, you're sure we'll suffocate. Bury us. we will intertwine with each other in the darkness and produce a root ball bursting into revolution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Our next writer is Rima Zaman. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Wonderful. Rima is a writer, actress, artist, and life coach from Bangladesh. She writes memoir and personal essays. She also writes for Dear Rima, where she replies to letters on life, love, and healing sent in by readers. She's represented by Lisa DeMona of Writers House. Her first memoir, I Am Yours, is being circulated presently among publishers. The name Rima means limitless in Sanskrit and poetry in Persian. You can find her at rimazaman.com.
Hello. I like clean palettes. Integrity of line. Hi there. Thank you so much, Dominique and Lydia, and the entire writing community of Portland. I've never felt love and inclusion quite like this before, and I'm so grateful. Can you guys hear me all right? Should I be closer? A little bit closer? Okay, and I will get louder. Sort of the disclaimer before I start dating anyone. This is a piece from my memoir. I haven't performed anything from it, so thank you very much for being here with me for this very special moment. And the entire book is written as though I'm speaking to my imaginary best friend from childhood whom I've never released. Tomorrow I'm going to be 33. And this piece is from 10 years ago. The nightmares. I am 23. New York, 2007. A mundane Monday. The subway doors open. A mouthful of us spit onto the platform. We scurry, each person in a different stage of Grady Swift. It's rare to find a born and raised New Yorker. Most of us have come here with a fervent mission, arriving on the wings of a wish. We plunge into the flow, weave our narrative with each other's, and move as one pulsing organism. I emerge from underground. The crisp evening envelops me in a gulp. I turn the corner and stumble into an old colleague, an actor like myself, a friend. What a great surprise, he says. It's been so long. Dinner? Friday? Sure. We met a few years ago in the summer between my sophomore and junior year in college while working at Williamstown, a renowned theater festival. He was a bit older than me in graduate school at Brown. We became close friends the way everyone does in a community of artists. In the performance arts, we cultivate closeness through specific practices. For weeks or months, we do exercises to foster trust and loyalty and love. We divulge achingly personal stories. We spend long hours rehearsing in the studio, on stage, and on the road. Therefore, by the time we perform, you believe that we are family, siblings, best friends, or lovers. As actors, it's our job to communicate intimacy. Thus, once two actors have worked together, we are allied for life. We are part of a larger loving tribe, generations deep. It's understood we don't assume this. Dinner is wonderful. He's wearing a button-down shirt and jeans. I'm wearing a short sundress and ballet flats. We share stories and laugh. My apartment is around the corner, so I invite him up for tea. We talk and feel the attraction. He kisses me, I kiss him back. It's all delightfully harmless. It's getting late. I walk him to the front door adjacent to my bedroom. Good night. Thank you for a great time. He wants more. He kisses me again, harder. He pushes me against the wall, my 5'4", 105 pounds, feeling pitiful to his 5'11", 180 pounds. You have to leave. I keep my voice light but persuasive. He tries to force me onto the bed, forcefully, not remotely, playfully. I hold my ground. No, you have to go. No, he says, grinning, his teeth glowing in the darkness. I am not going anywhere. The air has thickened like blood clotting. Dread curls around the edges of the room like the scent of rain before the sky slits open. He comes towards me, I back away. I breathe through my nose to calm my lungs and pace my heart. My mind sifts through every case study and self-defense lesson memorized in college as a women's studies student. I bolster myself with tactics, place one hand on each side of his head, dig hard into his eyes with my thumbs, knee him in the groin, bite, kick, scream, urinate. The shock and disgust might unsettle him, letting me run. He grabs me. I steel my body against his, twisting my torso and arms the way I was taught to do with assaulters. But the vital truth, as bitter as vile, he is much too strong. I fight with all my might, flaying like a fish caught on a hook. He keeps his hold on me and the tussle flings us onto the bed. My left cheek is pressed against his shoulder and turned towards the wall. My room is pink. I painted it this way, pink with a daisy yellow trim. Growing up, I had always wanted a pink room. There's a Benjamin Moore, a block down from my agent's office. The day I signed with him, I gave myself a pink room. I'm trying to create something soft for myself within the black and gray bruise that is New York. Life can be so surprising. Just as crayons fail to taste like their names, paint on a wall will be much brighter than paint in a can. I envisioned a light blush pink, but ended up with pink as vivid as flesh, sliced open. Now, I'm inside a mouth. Lining the flesh pink walls are stacks of books, arranged in a way I think is pretty. My bed frame is lovely too. Black wrought iron in a delicate pattern of leaves and flowers, much like the tattoo on my ribcage. It tucked in that small spot between my breasts. I chose that spot, believing no one would ever find it unless invited. I found my bed frame on Craigslist. It didn't come with a bed spring, so I balanced it on plywood boards. I haven't stopped fighting. I'm still trying to wiggle out from beneath him. He's pinned my wrist above my head, first with both his hands, and then with only one. With the other hand, he's undone his jeans and hiked up my dress. Now, he knees apart my legs and enters. As he jams in, I force myself to imagine that what I am feeling is an inanimate instrument, like those found in a gynecologist's office, which, given my age, I've only been to thrice. Now he grunts and grunts, his upper lip, forehead, palms, and torso growing clammy with sweat, saturating the room with his scent, musky male yet acutely his own. Cracking like lightning, the wooden boards beneath my mattress break from our combined weight and exertion. The mattress tilts like a split bone, it juts into the air at an awkward angle, shaking with each thrust. The broken boards scratch my flesh-pink walls. You're just too beautiful, he says, hissing between groans. Astonishing, the power of the human word. Through a meager handful of sound and suggestion, I feel guilt for being myself and fury for having it used against me. I wish to be anyone but myself, to be anything but attractive, to disappear and remain hidden indefinitely. I wish these things and I hate him for it. I've looked left, right, and down, and so now I look into him. His sounds, scent, and desire have filled the room full of him, yet he's completely left. His pupils have dilated so deeply his entire eyes look black, dulled of light, dead of any humanity. I'm still repeating, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go, though I don't know who I'm referring to, him or myself. I'd be happy for either one of us to vanish. Now I switch to saying, no, 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 spitting the words like seeds I won't take. Here we are. This is happening. The horrifying certainty hits me in the face like raw steak slamming a chopping board. Perhaps because he too believes this is an assured reality, his hold on my wrist slackens. His moment of sloth is all I need. I slip my wrist out from his hands, press the heels of my palms against his shoulders and push with all my might. No! I yell. The sudden volume and physical force are enough to shock him backwards. He comes at the same time he falls. If this weren't rape, if I weren't terrified, if my voice weren't hoarse from being ignored, I'd be embarrassed for him. I scoot back until I'm against the wall, hugging my legs onto my chest. I throw his chapped, but his blood. I must have bitten my tongue. It'll hurt tomorrow. Silently, swiftly, he puts on his clothes. I say it once more. Leave! He does. After his words, "You're just too beautiful," he hasn't said a thing. I don't call anyone for help. I sit in the dark for 15 minutes, listing my options and weighing the cost of each. I'm here on my OPT visa. My agents will sponsor my next visa, and if I obtain enough professional credits, I can accrue a green card. Every minute and penny is devoted towards the next meal, next audition, next job, next rent check. I am working so hard to live here. The fine print behind my immigrant status claims I'm not to be treated any differently than an American woman, but often the fine print fails to inform reality. Similarly, the minutiae behind immigration include nothing to suggest that pressing charges against a rapist could compromise my status, or when I apply for a green card. But all it takes is for my case to land in the hands of that one immigration officer who finds pleasure in turning the innocuous into injury. I cannot harm my chances for living here. I love America beyond words. I haven't a place in Bangladesh. But here, I can pursue the life I want, to be a voice for those without one. The irony is acutely painful. I won't press charges. I have to be quiet now to be a voice for others later. The hardest fact to reconcile is that my silence allows him the wicked freedom to do this to other women. This thought of hypothetical others burns me with guilt. What now? Get him off you. I take a shower. Scrolling down and along the walls of the stock exchange are statistics and stories I've learned and lived as a girl and student. What a twisted joke. I feel the inertia of tears build, and with them my heartbeat, sounding like the decisive march of soldiers, resolute and incoming. So immense grows my panic that it drowns out the sound of water and sucks in my breath. I begin to choke. Stop! Breathe. I breathe. This is anger and self-pity, two faces of fear. Fear, another luxury I cannot afford. My story. He is but one page, one character. It doesn't occur to me for a second to feel somehow small, dirty, or damaged. This wasn't sex, this was assault. He is not a man, nor all men combined. He is one predator. He is a scab, and Mama taught me not to pick scabs, especially if they're human. Under my makeshift waterfall, I speak these words. They bloom, then distill into one sentence. Only I author my life. I step out of the water. Now, the wrecked bed. I return the wooden slats to their precarious balance, angling them on the thin lip of metal, making sure they don't succumb to gravity. I lift the mattress. I smile, not from the strength in my arms, but from the lack of trembling in my hands. I sleep. The next day arrives, followed by another. The days form into months, months into years. I don't hear from him, but I will run into him. I will run into him because we are both actors, our world is tiny, and because life has a harsh, wise way of doing what she does. She will give us things as provocation to die quicker or to grow. I will read about him in the Times. I will see him in auditions. One time, I will sit across from him on the subway. How are you? I will ask, looking him in the eye. In response, he will move through every shade of pale and burn. He will shudder and shake. He will break eye contact while I will refuse to break eye contact. I will smile. I will wonder, have you become more than your past pieces? Over time, I will meet an uncanny number of men like him. With each person, I grow better at sensing the volatility beneath the sheen. I feel it like incoming rain. He holds the dormant capability to inflict pain. Tally the encounters, and I run out of fingers and toes. The idiom, everything happens for a reason, has never sat well with me. One cannot blurt, everything happens for a reason to a person who's just lost a loved one, been raped, or been diagnosed with cancer. The truth I prefer is, I assign my experiences their reasons. The reason behind this one evening wasn't to lose my faith in men, life, or my instincts. The reason for this one night, the purpose behind this one night was it proved my resilience. My beauty and youth will fade, people and money will come and go, but my ferocious passion to live is mine evermore. Startling, realizing this lights something within me. For the first time in my life, I like myself. Life is masterful at being fearsome. But I have myself and I have you. Dear one, you are my loyal witness. You haven't disowned me. You have stayed, though life has grown painful. You have listened, as though I matter. For all that and more, I love you.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. So we're going to have someone say a few words very briefly. Before that, after she says a few words, we're going to have a break for about 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, not about 20 minutes. And I want to remind you that some of the authors who are reading tonight have books for sale, and you should buy them and help them survive and keep doing what they're doing.
Can I say specifically, sorry?
Yes,
Darlene you've got merchandise?
Darlene's got merch right here.
And Xiao, they're two people, so.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And please help us thank the Crush staff for giving us such a wonderful home. Clapping is awesome, but you can also tip them majestically. So it says this next person is going to say a few words here just before the break, and you can say whatever you want about her. So I'll just say there's this Bjork album called Medulla, and 98% of the sounds on the album are actually our voices sampled and then repurposed. And there's this amazing song on the album called Oceania, which is like this high-end to just the oceans and water in our lives. So just to say a few words, here's Lydia Yuknovich.
Dami asked me to say a few words, so here are a few words.
Thank you.
Resistance. Resilience.
Two.
And this one comes from Tom, who I saw on Wednesday. We need a revolution, and it's your turn. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're Margie has an essay published in Wild Branch, an anthology of nature, environmental, and place-based writing. Last month, one of her essays was accepted for an upcoming anthology regarding the stigma surrounding mental illness. She's working on a memoir, Reckoning, Not Whistling Dixie, about the reverberations of childhood in the Yankee state of Pennsylvania with a bona fide crazy Southern mother. Maybe it is because of or in spite of coming to terms with her Southern bloodline, as Aunt Margie might say, Lord, girl, if your Southernness was a snake, it would have bit you by now.
Can someone lower the mic, please?
Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Lydia for holding such an amazing space in your workshops. Never so I'm just gonna get right into what you need to know about this piece.
A little bit closer. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you need to know about this piece is that my brother, sister, and I'm kind of starting in the middle. So my brother, sister, and I met in Savannah a year after my mother's death to inter her ashes in the family plot at Monumentary Cemetery. What you also need to know is that I lied to my Aunt Margie about the time we would get to the cemetery. That'll become apparent. And I've been thinking a lot, as everybody has, about the brouhaha we had. And I was thinking about how Mother is our first home. And then where we live is our home. And where we live right now is obviously having a few issues. So we're starting in the middle, and the only reason we've been in Savannah is to inter my mother's ashes, and I've left them by the mini microwave in the Doubletree Hotel. So we're in a hurry. We have them now, and we're almost to the cemetery. My cell phone rang. Aunt Margie's voice was loud enough that everyone in the car could hear. If dead people can hear, I imagine a few of them heard her too. Moan, where in the hell are you all? You were supposed to be in the office with the ashes at 9:45. I tried to sound calm and not annoyed that she had outflanked my lie and was yelling at me, yelling at all. I was burying Mom. Couldn't she lay down her arms and show kindness toward me, toward us, toward the one she had called Marianne's dang Yankee children all our lives? I didn't consider that she might be thinking the same about me. We met the director yesterday, Margie, and no one said a word about. Margie interrupted. She talked fast for a Southerner, fast and without breathing. Oh, I know, they're so bad out here. They got bodies, burnt-out bodies, bodies under the road. They don't know who's way here. Listen, because you're so goddamn late, the man with the shovel had to go. I told the man, give me the shovel. I'll bury her my goddamn self. We pulled up to the site. Margie, stick thin and raisin wrinkled, bent over a grave marker. She held a shovel in one hand and pulled up a weed with the other. She did not look up when we got out of the car. God, would you look at this place? No one ever comes to take care of it except me. Margie dug up a few more weeds and continued to talk at us. Then mentioned she needed to drop off some patio furniture to a friend and stop by the bank. Dog food and toilet paper were on her list. She was still talking when two petite, well-dressed, silver-haired ladies and one tall, gray-haired woman with sensible grandmother shoes walked toward us with tentative smiles. These must be my mother's friends from Blessed Sacrament days. Margie told us that the man was going to come by soon to collect his shovel, and we better get on with it. Peggy stood next to the box of ashes on the ground by the tiny piece of open dirt. She read from her favorite book, a prayer that started with, days pass and years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. Somewhere in the middle of that prayer, her eyes blurred with too many memories. So I stood next to her. So I stood next to her and started reading from where she stopped. Before I got to the last line, how filled with awe is this place and we did not know it, eyes filled with regrets. Peggy read with me. I doubt anyone, not even God, understood what we said. Tommy put Mom's box into the ground. God damn if Margie didn't start shoveling before I could reach down and throw some mullet can full of soil into Mom's grave. I put up my palm and she stopped. In a small opening, my tiny handful of Georgia dirt and all the answers to questions I had not yet thought to ask settled on the pine box. Ashes, dust, and rye. I was grateful when Tommy took the shovel from Margie and finished covering Mom. Margie was in a hurry. How nice. Margie's gaze stayed steady on the shovel blade, and then she briefly lowered her chin, closed her eyes, and rocked her head side to side. Beyond her in the trees, the Wilmington River in the far distance idled out to sea. Surrounded by stone angels, fading flowers, and the dead, a veil lifted. Or maybe it was pulled from my eyes. For an instant, I saw Margie as a lonely sister and the last living child of her kin. Beneath the bluster and brash lived a scared old woman, stuck in the same quagmire of contradictions from her past as I was from mine. Both of us had plenty of fight left, and fight was what we knew best. The smallest of the silver-haired women gave me an earnest hug. Her indigo eyes looked up at me, same indigo as Mom's. She said, "You know, I wore your mama's wedding dress." How sweet, I didn't know that. Yes, she and I were very close before her nerves got to her. Your mama was so smart and so beautiful and so kind. She could just never conform. She said it as though not conforming was the worst a person might do. And in her old South, a rebellious woman was the worst offense, but being related to a rebel was the highest honor. So many ways a Southern lady could go wrong as she tried to do right. I heard familiar sounds of regret and bewilderment in her voice when she spoke more about Mom and her nerves. Lately, I heard the same sound in my own voice. You know, I paused and decided that I no longer needed to protect Mom's secret, our family secret. We'd always blamed her behavior on alcohol. I was too tired, too northern to come up with pretty words to disguise an ugly truth. She was diagnosed as bipolar when I was 11. She flipped her hand like a joke passed between us. I'm sure I know that. Everybody knows that. Your great Aunt Aggie had it too. She was in and out of the asylum off and on for months. Then, of course, your poor Uncle Billy. Lord, a hard road that child had to go. Oh, wow. I didn't know about Aunt Aggie. Billy, I knew. However, he was colorful, extra colorful with his manic episodes. Flashing old ladies walking naked down Victory Drive and a few unsolicited homilies on River Street. It's all so sad about your mama. I'm sorry for your loss, darling. I believe she was sorry, and I was sorry too. I was sorry that we didn't have any chairs. When the cemetery director had asked me if I wanted to pay to have graveside chairs, I said no. Let them stand. The little biddies are probably only coming to see how their crazy friend Mary Ann's children turned out. Just fine, thank you. We had nowhere to rest because I believed that no one else ached or suffered from the skewed course my mother's life had taken. These people, my mother's people, stood next to me, to us, next to the 12 by 10 inch rectangle in their native soil, not to bury my mom, but to bury their hopes for a different outcome to the lifelong battle she had fought within her mind. We were, all of us, unintended casualties of her civil war. Later that night, Peggy and I walked to River Street from the hotel. A full moon rose in the east, perfectly in line with the Savannah River. Peggy pointed a wavering circle of light on the water and said, I bet that's where you got the idea. Ew, what idea? Still looking at the water, she sang the first few lines of Mom's favorite Johnny Mercer song. Moon River, wider than a mile. I'll cross in you in style someday. Oh, dream maker. you heartbreaker, wherever you're going. I'm going your way. At the edge of the moonlit river, under the canopy of live oak trees with Spanish moss dangling off limbs like tired ghosts not wanting to leave good party, I nodded. I bet it was. The din and bustle of the bar scene and tourist shops rose and fell at our backs. Events of the day and the years played out in my mind. Branches spread above the rooftops and reached toward heaven, alluvial fans widening into the sky. They moved like lungs, breathing the river into Savannah's downy soft air, and into my breath, and into my blood. I half expected a crack, a thud, or a long, deep sigh to utter out of the hard place inside in me that could no longer hold. Softness is silent, and there was no sound to signal the end of my battle. The fight I had fought, being of my mother, of her illness, of her South, of these people, of this place, and Margie, and I found my way to love the South, and everyone from the South who had once loved me was gone. The moon reflected its light onto the surface of my eyes, my softening eyes. You okay, Peggy asked. Yeah, I'm okay. You? Just fine, sugar pie. Just kind of deep. She knew me too well. They laughed. On the walk back to the hotel, I looked at my mother's city with kindness for the first time since I was a child. This was goodbye. There was no reason to travel here again. Margie wanted nothing to do with us, and I didn't blame her for it anymore. Peggy said, sure would be nice to get home. I miss my bed. I bet your sweet little Olivia misses you by now. But the more I walked along the familiar uneven cobblestones of River Street, the more I didn't want to say goodbye. Maybe there was a reason to come back to this city of charm and crazy, and her name was Olivia. My kid should know her grandmother's people. My people, our South.
Thank you. Before I read the next bio, I wanted to do this after the break, but I'm going to do just like a very quick, shameless self-promotion thing. I was so inspired by Dami and Burnt Tongue, and I had always kind of wanted to host a reading series, and then an idea occurred to me over the summer, and so I started one, and it's also a quarterly reading series, and it's called The Discomfort Zone. And it's called that because every episode of The Discomfort Zone is about a different topic that is uncomfortable to talk about. And we started with class, and it was awesome. And so I picked the topic for the next one, and I picked the date for the next one, the date rather arbitrarily. So the topic is going to be abuse, which seems really important to talk about. And the date is January 19th, which is the day before Inauguration Day. So I actually could not think of a more fitting time to get in a room and talk about this stuff. So I hope you'll come out. It'll be at Post 134 in Alberta. And I'll just throw this out there too. My lineup is overwhelmingly made of women and female-identified people. And I think everyone experiences abuse, and I think men are often more reticent to talk about it because of really backwards ideas of machismo and just stupid ideas like toxic masculinity. So if you yourself, or if you know someone who you think might have a story to tell who is male or male identified about abuse, please get in touch with me or put them in touch with me. Thank you. So our next reader is MF McAuliffe, and she is the co-founder and contributing editor of the Portland-based multilingual magazine Gobshite Quarterly, and an editor at Reprobate/GobQ Books. She published the only full-length collection of poems by Douglas Spangle, who won the 2016 Holbrook Literary Legacy Award. I'm about to describe 2 books of hers to you. I just want you to know they are for sale here, right over there. And 10% of the proceeds from sales of those books will go towards the Burnt Tongue Scholarship Fund. Her novella, Seattle, was published last February. Her Crucifixes and Other Friday Poems is fresh from the printer, right over there. And she has several projects in the pipeline for 2017. Please welcome MF McAuliffe.
Thank you for that helping hand. On the stairs to the garden, stroking the cat on the stairs to the garden. The stairs go to sleep. Nothing matters. The dirt is here, the air is here, the leaves are here, the cat is here, the hand. The world is here. The world drifts. The stairs go to sleep. Nothing matters. The air is asleep. The world is asleep. He's warm. He's firm. He's content. My father and the Current Affairs Bulletin was partially funded by the CIA. My father used to subscribe to that. I can still see it on his note table. My father, the good-natured, the secret sympathiser with women, children, animals, birds, rivers, the hard-working, the honest, the lacquer of guile, the man whose father abandoned him, who'd been a clerk and an accountant, who always did his best, who gardened and painted and roofed, who knew the names of birds and their calls, who buried my cat when she died, who'd been a drover and seen the hard light of the Giver Plain and the dependence of cattle. He had no idea where the funding for his magazine, the Catholic magazine he relied on for geopolitical information, for the shape of the world he lived in, for the truth, because he believed in truth and thought the thinkers of the church would give it to him, was coming from. The Current Affairs Bulletin always on his nightstand. CIA propaganda always on his nightstand. Such an intimate assault. Francis Stoner Saunders' Cultural Cold War, the CIA and the world of arts and letters mentions Australia very briefly. We're such small beer to them. The sky is raining, clouds and medication. Morning is broken, only 2 megs remaining. I must write away. Belmont Chevron, 1802. Pacific Power, 49.59. Aero Sanitary, 41.95. Northwest Natural, 32.41. Band-Aid Medical, 422.02. Band-Aid Dental, 63.61. Ambient Properties, $700. Belmont Chevron, 2202. Protection Services, 9285. Portland City Water, 143.34. Band-Aid Medical, 42202. Band-Aid Dental, 63.61. I must write away. Belmont Chevron, 2705. Band-Aid Medical, 42202. Band-Aid Dental, 63.61. Ambient Properties, $700. I must write away for $20. The idea of America is a mail-in rebate. The idea of America is a flickering screen. The idea of America is a toy from China. The idea of America is a gaping warehouse. The idea of America is a condo conversion. The idea of America is no work forever. The idea of America is camouflage gear. The idea of America is go, go, go. The idea of America is a medevac liftoff. The idea of America is a burning jungle. The idea of America is an empty sky. The idea of America is death in a desert. The idea of America is an automatic weapon. The idea of America is urban warfare. The idea of America is fighting for crumbs. The idea of America is justice denied. The idea of America is a mechanized wheat field. The idea of America is a fully floating billboard. The idea of America is to steal what you rescue. The idea of America is a sunset to ride to. The idea of America is only one limousine. The idea of America is its own Fifth Amendment. The idea of America is a helicopter thwopping. The idea of America is special forces now. The idea of America is an airborne disease. America's the other side of the wind. My father worked at General Motors 1938 to 1966. He retired after 28 years. Previous 10 had been spent in the Great Depression. No work, little work, fear. So far I've worked 36 years, 2008 minus 1971 minus 1. But my father worked 30 hours a week and I worked 40. So for every 4 years my father worked, I've worked 5 since coming to the States. 2008 minus 1982 divided by 4 equals 6.5, by 5 equals 32.5. So altogether I've worked 1982 minus 1971 minus 1 equals part-time, looking for work, etc., plus 32.5 equals 44.5 years, and I have to work another 10 equals 12.5 barring death equals 57. I want to devour the midnight and the morning. I want the creaminess of cloud. I want the secret life of flames. I want to be a Chinese punk. Spiky black hair and singlet and jeans, cigarette and swagger. I want to strike sparks from concrete, kick holes in the horizon, break the neck of heaven. I don't want a job. I want a future. In the room, the women. There's just too much chance for punishment, day in, day out. And so we sit and do what we're told. Sit under the white light, in the white room, in a universe of whiteness. And imagine the sides get dark, with hate, axle grease, disease, rot, blood, retribution. Imagine whiteness turning on its side, knives rising out of corpses, concussions reversed, hands coming back to life, disemboweling, feet bladed and carving, skating in pools of blood and overseer. Imagine whiteness chased back and down through its speakers, wires, walls, cavities, into the hollows of its rooms and houses, carvers, clothes, children, pets, till every nook and cranny and surface is red and black and gleaming with flies. And the white light flickers out. First takes one. If you want a forest, you're going to have to pull it out of my feet, out of my skin, out of the veins jumping with exhaustion, out of the hollows of my bones, the chalkiness of them frightening. You're going to have to stand my body on a rock, nail my hands to the wheeling stars, let my tendons turn and twist and knot, let the wind and standing dark solidify for centuries. Unzip the glue skin around my fingernails, dangle it sideways in the sun, nick and pluck and pull my chest, back, neck, arms, thighs. Bundle a glimmering collection of ribs that hang now dry as rattles, score them lengthwise, bury them parallel and parallel and parallel, lie me on the earth, go back in with 12-inch needle-nose pliers, cast aside the spleen and liver and calcified mush. Go straight to the cracked black stone of my heart. Rewater and restore it. Warm it with your lips. Hope it still contains the soft, complex stem cell of the world.
So much, Emma. And the shortest bio award goes to... This is Laura Stride, and she wants to read you something today.
Go Stride!
Let's not rise. Just a...
borrowed, hi, thanks, Tommy. Thanks for inviting me. I borrowed 3 words from Lydia on election night. Had posted something that my friend read to me. Borrowed 3 words, complacency's in there. I can point her direction when that comes up, but I acknowledge that to her. I borrowed that, inspired me. That and 2 whiny emails from a couple people, nobody in this room. And I didn't email back, I wrote this instead. Dear Liberal White, I know you're upset about the election, you feel like moving to Canada, but do you remember when President Obama got elected? Some white folks said, what'll happen to us now? A guy said to me, how's Obama gonna treat the whites? I said, Obama's half white, you jackass. But I should have been nicer to him, because he was scared. For the last 8 years, the other half of America who didn't vote for President Obama, people who think the only black folks in the White House should be working in the kitchen, the citizenry, half of us who laughed and agreed the First Lady looks like an ape in heels, they were scared 8 years ago, and I'm not trying to be ironic. Dear Liberal White, so you feel like you lost the election and you want to move to Canada. Don't be such a crybaby. Open your hearts to Donald Trump's message, and then send him a gift certificate to Supercuts, because he worked so hard to expose the racist underbelly of our crybaby nation. Thank Donald Trump for the opportunity, praise democracy, to rise up out of your liberal white complacency, because clicking like this on Facebook is for lazy crybabies. When you're calling out a bigot in person, take heart, because there's never a right time to do that. Opportunities abound in polite conversation, but it's hard to do, isn't it? It's hard to stand up to all that bigotry and misinformed hate when you're just trying to eat your lunch in the break room at work, have a nice time at the cocktail party, where maybe your spouse is up for promotion, or get through a kiddie birthday party where you're especially afraid because then Junior Crybaby won't be invited back for playdates. So you're gonna know that you're doing it right when your pulse quickens, or your palms feel clammy, or hopefully, maybe hopefully, your voice shakes a little. 'Cause that's wonderful. That's the deepest part of your consciousness telling you that you're standing up now for something that's right. Here's another clue. You're doing it right. Those people in the break room or at the party are gonna look like you, at you like you're an asshole that just made everybody uncomfortable because you can't take a joke. Maybe somebody will call you a communist, or say, if you don't like it, leave, or these colors don't run. I love it when non-liberal whites say that, because I know they aren't booking a ticket to Toronto, but they're inviting you to call your travel agent. Dear liberal white, I want to see some of that civic pride in you. I love it that an entire strand of our American society, racist, misogynistic, homophobic, stood their ground, didn't bail on the America they imagined, and now they are rising up in numbers to claim it. Don't be such a crybaby. Get out there and play ball. It's not a battle or fight. We're too sporting a nation for that. Think of like the Olympics. That's every 4 years too. The Olympics brings together people of different origins and beliefs, many who don't like each other, but they meet on the field, shake hands, and compete with honor. No crybabies. There'll be plenty of crying later when the other team realizes that their jobs already went way overseas and those American manufacturers don't give 2 figs about coming back. There'll be plenty crying when the other team figures out businesses they meant to hire that brown guy, the illegal immigrant, because they don't have to pay him as much. Because if you hire white Americans, especially ones that speak English real good, then all you got is a staff of crybabies that want to be paid fair wages, get health care, and all that dumb stuff. So get out there and play ball. Because it's only been 2 weeks since the election, and I'm already tired of listening to you. I'm sorry, is half your family here illegally? Did you lose a factory job that hasn't existed for 25 years? Have you been profiled and beaten by the police lately? Were you pulled over for driving while being a crybaby? I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Have a little bit of pride in your country and work for Trump supporters. Dear liberal white, you're going to be fine. If you're scared, look around at your fellow Americans who aren't threatening to leave for Canada. The ones who are hunkering down for another 4 years of being black, brown, or light chocolate in America. Being non-Christian in America. Being a naturalized US citizen with foreign accent in America. Being queer or a woman in America. Being a Native American in America. Being any color of poor in America. Think you're fit enough to join this league? You want to be on this team? That's awesome. But here's the deal, is you got to show up to practice, you got to suit up on game day, ready to play hard and win. Because we live in the United States of all kinds of Americans. So toss the coin, touch gloves. But I really do hope that when you go out there, you play for self and play for country, play with honor for what you believe in to be right. But unless you're a crybaby, don't even kid about going to the Canadian leagues because your team needs you here.
Fuck yeah. All right. Catherine Cold Iron's work has appeared in Hobart, the Normal School, and the Southern California Review. She lives in California and blogs at The Fictator. Here she is, Catherine.
I'm terrified.
We love you, sir.
So this is a manifesto for the 21st century woman's body. And I think I need a snappier name than that, so I'm taking suggestions. It's cut down from 5 acts. So. 1, the woman, the devourer, the other, the Medusa, the scheming fatale, the succubus, the giver of all life, the whore, the crone, the mother, the virgin, the Madonna, the working mother, the single mother, the divorcee, the widow, the murderess, the actress, the sorceress, the lioness, she who writes in white ink. Rising and rising in you like a red sea, the fatigue and the fury. You are told who you are and what you do, over and over and yet over. You are beaten against the shoreline, a broken raft. You are known by all but yourself. You are colonized. Thousands of voices under your skin whispering in the layers between skull and gray matter. You are what we say you are. You are what we say. You know yourself not. You are the other. You are a stranger. 2, your body is a hand grenade. Your body is the site of the ills done to you and the poisons you have consumed. Your body is asked to be what it should not be. It is corseted by glossy magazines and encircled by cobweb gazes. Your body is public property. It is a lawn to be manicured by greenskeepers remunerated by taxpayers. It is a product of committee thinking. 3, among the animals birthed by a woman, woman has the most direct relationship with the vessel of body. You cannot avoid the body if you live in the body of a woman. Even if you moved beyond awareness of the body for brief periods, you find yourself tethered to it, inevitably, cyclically, gazed upon. You are in there. Invaded, you are in there. Once the moon's cycle begins again, once you encounter the 1 to your 0 again. The woman's body makes her aware of itself constantly. Monthly at least, the blood comes, impossible to ignore, difficult to hide, ancient and organic clockwork. The pain comes, and she hides it. She cannot seek sympathy. She must go on with her life. 4, the ideal stranger is the woman they want you to be. She balances her work life, home life, and passions, a skilled waitress balancing appetizers. She possesses a girl body, but she's buttoned into it as comfortably as if it's a woman body. She doesn't drink too much, or sweat too much, or fart, or belch. She can run a mile in stilettos. She does not menstruate or defecate. She is not real. She is a stranger to you and me and everyone, except that we know her specter from sitcoms and advertising and Cosmo. She is a stranger to the other, a female with all the womanly uncanniness siphoned out of her. What remains is pleasing but impossible. She is the ideal, but you have never known her in the flesh. If the ideal stranger is the full realization of culturally fashioned femaleness, the true animal is the full integration of female self with female body. She menstruates and is not disgusted. She knows the colors of her body hair. Her body is not performative. She writhes when she wants to. She is grateful for her soft, strong, fluctuating body, the body like the moon, like Gibraltar that houses her. 5. The true animal is not ideal and not impossible. She is the flame inside every child body. She is the tide reaching for each rim of dry sand. She is the white ink on the skin of a woman and the red cells that pour out of her womb. She is the staccato press like laughter that peaks her pleasure into color. The body cannot remain bound and gagged from you forever. You have too long to live for that. Find her. Find the animal. Inhabit her. Inherit womanhood. Zip yourself into it. Breathe.
Thank you, Kat. Our next reader is Adam Strong. He's looking at me right now. He's the burnt tongue videographer over there. Adam Strong is the father of 2 daughters that make his jaw go funny when he sees them. I love that so much. His work has appeared in various literary journals, both on and offline, and in the anthology City of Weird. Adam is the founder and curator of the reading series Songbook PDX. The next Songbook PDX, if I'm not wrong, is next Saturday at 7 p.m. at Post 134 in Alberta. It is an awesome series in which writers choose a song that means something to them and then tells a story about why they chose that song. And then, after the writer reads the story, we all listen to the song together. It's awesome. Adam lives, writes, teaches, and loves in Portland, Oregon. Adam Strong.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Crush. I love coming back here every time. This is a really painful piece, and this is for you, Tom. I love you. It took a few months to finally fizzle out, but one day the thing we never wanted to happen happened. I was in the middle of a sentence when I checked Facebook. August 12th. Tonight was our last table, our last class. There are no plans to continue. I was on vacation. I'd woken up early just to work on edits, what I'd done ever since my kids were born. The pages for next class. Now there was no class. 10 years of deadlines, 5 hours a week, the voices in my head when I edit, older voices, 10 years of people coming and going, Maddie, Colin, and Diane, and Doug, and Brad, and Gigi, and the oldest voice of all, Tom. Tom had been gone for a while, 6 months easy. Call it medical leave. We were a group without a leader. We were making plans for what to do next. There was something deeper, a man not teaching what would become a sudden retirement. Tom, we knew he wasn't coming back. We thought if we just kept on meeting, if we kept on bringing pages, then we could carry on our own. This group and Tom was a big part of who I was. I was a dangerous writer. Dangerous writers write from the sore places. We build story from hurt, a place in me where I can talk about what's fucking me up. I loved it so much I did crazy things. I woke up early on the weekends, 5:30. 2 kids, I wrote through 2 kids. I thought I could write through Tom not being there too. One night after one of our first classes without Tom, we were all out like we normally did to a bar, the Vern. They played punk rock, they played death metal. I was talking to Maddie, one of the teachers, about what we were going to do. His eyes and his mustache, that dead serious look he got. Right then I knew what it meant, even if I didn't at the time. It was over. This group, Tom was my teacher, the whole bit. I'd lost something so close to me, bet over with sacrifice and time. I've been fighting a battle for 10 years, trying to prove to Tom that I was a good writer, and now it was over. The thing about grief is that it does the breathing for you. Tom at Wordstock in 2006, at a workshop, he asked all 200 of us to write to the prompt, "The moment after you were different." My secret, my suicide attempt, that time I grabbed the sharpest steak knife in the house right in front of my dad and how he reacted. That moment became my book, Parenting and Fathers and Sons. Tom asked for volunteers, and even though I was scared, and even though there were 200 people there, I did it. I told the darkest secret I had. "It was brave for you to write about that," he said. I was far away. I had to squint to see him. He looked through me from across the room. He knew what I'd done. The guy at the Vern, the bartender, he had one of those black Subhumans t-shirts on, and his beard twisted into a bun at the end. He looked up at me. Wet breath in my chest. I knew when it was coming the way you know you're gonna puke. This vibrating force down in my stomach up to my chest, this was every person I'd lost hitting me all at once. Some friends you want to have around for when you lose it like that. Maddie gave me a hug, a big hug, my cheeks on a scratchy t-shirt, right there in front of everyone, blubbering and openly sobbing. My writing group, this thing I loved so much, even though it was weeks away, I knew my mentor, this thing we had, was over. These people gave me more pleasure than almost anything. I felt the way with them like I did when I read stories to my kids at night, and they're there on either side of me reading in. Sometimes they look at me when I'm reading. They'll watch my lips and follow the words. I'll read to them about an old man who tailors a sweater, and he wears it until it gets worn down, and then he takes the fabric and makes it into a necktie. He does this until the thing is a tiny ball of fluff. It's loved and loved until it's not there. After Tom, people stayed or didn't stay, but there was enough of a group of us to where we could finish each other's sentences. This group taught me how to stand up behind my shortcomings. They told me it was okay to write about being broken, to own being grown. They gave me the courage to stand in front of a classroom full of 14 to 18-year-olds and tell them that I tried to kill myself at 16, and the reason why I'm here for you is because no one was there for me. Tom taught me how to tear down a piece and start over, taught me to write like I should write when I'm talking to you, when you and me are at a bar. We are having margaritas and we are talking. I read to hear someone talk. No one talks to me like you do. This is why we read. Each time I did it, brought back stuff that wasn't working, destroying a room and rebuilding it and discovering the truth of what the room could be was still in the wall. The great part of a story still needed to be carved out and excavated. I had to bring out the real me and rebuild the rubble until the rubble was the thing that made it great. I needed a whole group of someones to bring it out of me. My wife and I, we had a kid and I kept writing. I had one novel that wasn't working and I kept writing. I stayed through the struggle to come up with a new story, stayed through having the second kid. I got up with a newborn at 4:30, got her back to sleep in one arm and wrote through all of this with one arm cradling the baby and one hand typing. But it wasn't enough. I needed Tom to say to me, "Good job," to make me feel like what I was doing was worth it. I became a writer first and a person second. I had to take my foot off the gas. Being awake meant story, meant life. Publishing a goddamn short story was the end-all be-all, because I couldn't call myself a writer without feeling like a fraud. The thing was, I was never as broken as I thought I was. Time away. Without these people every week, people who propped me up, who I relied on so much, in the end, I needed to step out on my own. I didn't want to, but sometimes grief has a way of making decisions for you. I miss the class. I miss Tom. I miss the absence in my chest, but for the first time, writing-wise, I feel like I can walk on my own. It took the breaking up of the thing I loved so much to teach me I could share my truth in my own way, with or without them.
Fuck yes!
Thank you.
Adam. That's awesome. We have 2 performers left for you. Our penultimate performer is Xiaolin Go. She is a writer from Denver, Colorado. Her first book is Islanders, a volume of poems on the history of Chinese exclusion at the Angel Island Immigration Station in San Francisco. Just as a reminder, you can buy copies of that book from Tiao after the show. She will work to make sure this history is not repeated. Xiaolin Go.
Hi, so I'm glad to be here. Thanks Domi for inviting me. Thanks Lydia for being my mentor all these years. And you know, I was thinking I had to thank Tom as well. I've never met him in person, but I've read half of his books, I think. And I feel that I've learned so much from him, from you, from all of you people, so. Angel Island. To the miners who sailed the Pacific with dreams of golden rivers, to the workers who built the railroads over mountains and prairie skies, to the farmers who made the desert bloom, to the Chinese who were attacked for the color of their skins, to the aliens who posed as citizens, their papers lost, a quake and fire, to the paper sons who forged the history, to the detainees on an island between the sea and the sky, to the poets who penned on barrack walls songs of hope and hazy dreams, songs of home and nights alone. To the paper sons who begin new lives under assumed names, anxious their roots would be unmasked, afraid to tell the children of their past. This is not my history. I am not the daughter of a miner. I am not the daughter of a laborer. I am not the daughter of a farmer. I am not the daughter of a paper son, false citizen, prisoner. This is not my legacy. This is my history. I crossed the sea. I sat on a plane. I came with a dream of freedom to speak and to believe. It is here I begin to write. This is my legacy. So, background information on the book. Between 1910 and 1940, Chinese immigrants to America were detained at the Angel Island Immigration Station in the San Francisco Bay. You could call it the other Alcatraz, or you could call it the Ellis Island of the West. As they waited weeks and months to know whether they could enter America, some of them wrote poems on the walls. All the poems that we have on record were found in the men's barracks. For a long time, historians thought that the women were illiterate, so they didn't write anything. But it was later found that the women did write poems, probably less than the men did, but they did anyway. The women's barracks burned down in a fire in 1940, which closed the immigration station, and that's why there were no records. So, in the first part of this book, I imagine what the woman might have said. This next poem, the one thing you need to know is that the laws of the time meant that a Chinese woman could enter America only as a dependent wife or daughter. In a wooden building. So I wait on Angel Island, this island of immortals. The grass is dry and golden, waves score the headlands, and the sea churns around me. The children, now a year older, a year beyond their father, another year without me. Each day we live in silence, socks for the children, hats for the parents, and our words swirl in the sea. A brush and a bottle of ink. I took them when he died. He loved to write. What would he say if he were me? I open the bottle, I dip in a brush, I write on the walls, I tell this story of a widow, alone in a prison at sea. I tell this story of long nights, wanting my children with me. I imagine him in heaven, a right to forget the tedium, and maybe one day you will remember me. The waves. His father died suddenly, leaving a sick wife and 4 young girls. He decided to go to America, stake a claim on Golden Mountain, and come back for me. He wrote to me of Angel Island, where officers scrutinized his papers and doctors made him stand naked as they inspected his eyes. He built a business selling groceries, sent money home, and came back to marry me. I flew upon the sea. He calmed me, made love to me. The first time I cried, silently. I had not been with another man, but I knew he had another. What could I do? There was no land in sight. San Francisco, the green hills of late spring on the verge of a golden splendor. The city rose from the sea, veiled in a hazy blue. They had to land from a ship. I had to board a ferry. They didn't even let me say goodbye. There's nothing we can do. Far and wide of a Chinese merchant, your case is automatically denied. At night I watch the sea. I want its embrace. Cold, dangerous, overwhelming. In these waves, I will finally be home. So, for the next poem, to give you some context, so the Chinese exclusion Act gave the exceptions to immediate family of Chinese who were already in America. So a lot of men would claim unrelated men as their sons, and to try and mitigate that, the immigration inspectors came up with a system where, let's say, if I said Lydia was my father, so they would ask me questions about the relationship, questions such as, where is the rice bin in your family home? And they would ask, my father the same questions, and if the answers don't match, they would say there's no relationship, and they would deny the application. Scrutiny. How far is your village from the railway station? Where is the rice bin in your family home? Who paid for your passage to America? Why must I answer these questions? When can I join my love in the land of the free? Why do I live in a wooden building? Why must I prove that I am me? And I will read one more poem. The Walls Speak. The year I turned 14, father took me out of school. I scrubbed the floors, washed the clothes. At night, by candlelight, I snuck in my brother's books, dreaming of a faraway land where I could read and write. Here the fog obscures, the full moon and the stars. The sea spins a song of solitude and pain. I wait for my turn to enter the land of the free. At night, by candlelight, I write in a notebook I hide. On the walls I see poems, brushed in ink, carved on wood. And the man's a lost woman, stumbling in the world. I read the stories and weep. Each time I pick up the knife, ready to etch my words into the wood, my hands tremble and I step back. At night I lie awake. Will I always be a secret? Thank you.
Thank you, Tiao. And just a reminder, she has books for sale. And our final performer of the night, Darlene Solomon, aka Black Butterfly. Black Butterfly is an entertainer. Her love for the arts has allowed her to explore several layers of her calling, be it spoken word, motivational speaking, singing, dancing, theater, or event promoting. She has allowed the Creator to use her ministry to inspire others to follow their calling. Darlene is a native Oregonian, born and raised in Northeast Portland. She has released and published a chapbook entitled Black Girl, Can I Comb Your Hair? And a spoken word CD entitled Kaleidoscope, where life, love, and grace collide. She's currently in the studio working on her sophomore project. She's featured on a variety of collaborative projects. Please welcome Darlene Solomon, Black Butterfly.
Matches and carbines and powder and some lead, thinking about the life that I once led. I'll be prepared for the bounty on my head. To the mountains I have fled for things that I said. With matches and carbines and powder and some lead, thinking about the life that I once led. Thinking about the life that we once led. See, if it was up to you, we'd be bound, battered, and bruised, but I choose to break chains holding shackles for you. With the troops, I juice up the armies of the troops to fight the powers that be. Because each one teach one the way it's done. See, I choose to use this vessel to fill up the soul. With truth and knowledge and wisdom, I let you know, I pass out extra copies of Killing Before the World. I'll fight against injustices until I'm dead, and I'll be prepared for the bounty on my head. To the mountains I fled for things that I said. With matches and carbine, powder and some lead. Thinking about the life that we once led. Thinking about the life that we once led.
Sometimes you just gotta go for it. I don't know about you, but I woke up and I was like, is this real? I woke up in a bad movie. A B movie. But you know what? At the end of the day, we have to remember, you have to be the person that breaks that uncomfortable silence. That whole deer and headlight thing that everybody's been walking around going. I know, I see a lot. People don't know what to say to me. They come up and they kind of go, I'm like, just say something. Guess what? We both woke up human today. Score! Guess what? We all are in this shit together. Score! Guess what? There is no right fucking answer. There is no right answer. Wake up and do what you came to do. We all have a responsibility to our community, to our country, to our lives. We made a conscious decision to be here. Now, at this present moment. It's no coincidence. Fight. Resist. This is not a new thing. We've done it before. This ain't the first time that we've been on the verge of war. This is not it. We've had this happen. We just didn't have it spoken so graphically. Because I bet you, if somebody come up and tell me they're going to grab me by my pussy, we're going to have a problem. Just a little one. Don't let the fancy clothes fool you. How are you guys doing tonight?
amazing, powerful people on this stage. And I feel blessed to be able to be here. Thank you for having me. Dami, it's been a long time coming, baby.
I love you.
I love you more. I love you more. We met on the floors of justice. Both of us had our nonprofit organization, I'm not going to say the name, experience, where we really literally had an opportunity to break down some barriers and some walls. And we had some shit we had to deal with every day. But we knew why we were there. And that was more important. And we let that be the catalyst of why we were there. Forget about the politics. You can't do nothing about it. This was a selection, we know this. So get past the shock. Ashton Kutcher's not coming out and saying we've been pumped. Damn it, because I was waiting for it. I even put it on Facebook. I was like, I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and say, America, you've been pumped. It didn't happen. We're here. And there are some people who are just totally okay with that. And you know what? I believe in giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. If that's what you must do in order for us to make us this connection, because at the end of the day, we need each other. At the end of the day, we're going to remember that. At the end of the day, we know that we're stronger together. Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you remember that? So, I'm going to do a couple of pieces of poetry because, that's what you want me to do, right? Bear with me. I'm an empathic person, and so stuff shows up in my body. My shoulder. Bless my best friend's heart, bless her heart. She showed up, and she was like, I came to watch poetry. Oh my God, what's going on with your shoulder? And I was like, I couldn't turn my head over here. It was bad. I was just like, but the universe is gracious. And she walked in the door and she was like, do you want me to work on you a little bit before you go up? And I was like, please, yes. And then my other friend came up and she was just like, here's a drink. It's called a pair of panties. I was like, well, damn. Who can't use a pair of panties? And then I tasted it. Oh my God. If you haven't done it, do so. By all means. Who's in here had one?
I'll buy you one. I'll buy 3.
Okay, I don't want to be greedy. Can I have another one?
Yes.
It's so good and it's so refreshing. So, with that said, let me get myself back together. That piece that you heard me open up the show with is a partnership between myself, Mike Crenshaw, and Rochelle Hart. It's on the album, Road Easy. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her before. You might want to make sure that you take a little bit of time to listen to it. That album is for sale. It's called Kaleidoscope. I'm going to do a couple of pieces off of that album, and then I'm going to do some other pieces that are not on the album. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Perfect. She said, Mama, I want to be like the rich ladies on TV. I want to be thin and pretty. I want long hair and many shiny things. And her mama said, baby, turn off that TV. See, I want to tell you a little something about beauty. See, baby, it's only skin deep. But your virtues, you eternally keep. See, you were raised to be a queen. And what you don't see is the pain and humility. See, you have a responsibility to maintain your integrity. See, everything ain't as pretty as it seems. See, everything ain't as pretty as it seemed. And her mama said, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you, girl. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you. Keep stepping and rapping like a soldier, girl. Ain't nobody ever told you that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. She said, Mama, I want to believe that I can be a queen. I want to believe all these things, but with all of the imagery that I see. I want to believe that that beauty is inside of me. See, I keep my mind on possibilities and dreams. I help out with my community. Mama, I even help out with the elderly. Will the people on TV ever look like me? Will they ever look like we? Will those people on TV ever look like me? Will they ever look like we? And she said, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you, girl. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Ain't nobody ever told you. Keep stepping and rapping like a soldier, girl. Keep stepping and rapping like a soldier, girl. Keep stepping and rapping like a soldier, girl. Ain't nobody ever told you that you are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Just the way you are. Be true to you. Love you. Be yourself. Don't let nobody shape and define you. Because you are beautiful. Just the way you are. Trapped behind enemy lines, know everything ain't fine. These folks keep messing with our minds. Got my face pressing up against this grate and it's tearing up my face, but freedom is on the other side, I can taste it. I said freedom is on the other side, I can taste it. See, we are in the system of things as far as the pendulum swings from left to right. See, we trying to bring some dark places light. See, by the time you get this, there'll be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 or more casualties of war, and they won't even know it. See, everything you see and do, they're trying to control you. Cell phones, OnStar, TiVo, GPS, satellite radios. Oh yeah, no commercials. See, we living in the highest unemployment state. And Bush had folks donate $2,000 a plate, and we didn't line up the fences of UFP. What happened to all the revolutionaries? See, wasn't that you standing next to me at the Panther exhibit? Oh yeah, that's right. See, some of y'all wasn't with it, but we're still reaping the benefits of it. You know those free and reduced lunch programs? See, they were implemented by the Panthers. We are all striving to reach heights never reached, and I pray that we remember to teach each one. Reach. Each step that we take brings us to a more enlightened place where we dwell in love and not hate. Where we dwell in love and not hate. Each one, reach one is the way it is done. Interject your intellect and where your intellect falls short. Find a child running wild and teach them what you know. Make sure that our seeds continue to grow. Make sure that our seeds continue to grow. Make sure that our seeds continue to grow. Take them with spiritual wisdom of knowledge of self, of wealth, and the lack of it. Teach them of capitalism, racism, sexism, and spiritualism, and all those other isms that cause folks to build themselves in cages from which we cannot escape. And slavery is on the rise again. But this time, we're not bound physically. We're entrapped mentally. And it's disguised as prosperity. Got you chasing after a brass ring instead of lifting up your voice and sing. We have the power in our hands. 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 See, we are all prisoners of war. But what side are you fighting for? Rise up. Take action. Be the change that you want to see in this world. So we will not continue to be trapped behind enemy lines. I, like you, am reeling from the effects of civil unrest, trying to take the task, the questions that have been asked by our youth. Like, does anyone still tell the truth? They say to me, Miss Darlene, what happened to things like honesty and integrity? See, you keep telling us about community and all we see is greed. People are lying and babies are crying for answers, and I, like you, am trying to find a solution to the pollution that we breathe in. It's hard to believe that in 2016, we are still sharecropping in a land that we've never owned. In a place that has never been our home, and some folks have the nerve to bang over turf. Are you serious? We got the Bloods, we got the Crips, we got the Democrats, and the Republicans. See, I, like you, am trying to be free in a caged society where martial law is right around the corner, and I want to break out in the verse of, make me want to holler and throw both my hands, make me want to holler and throw both my hands, make me want to holler and throw both my hands, throw both my hands, throw both my hands. Does this look familiar? Yeah. Please, don't shoot. See, I, like you, am trying to be free in a caged society where martial law is around the corner, and I want to break out the verse of make me want to holler, because we living in the same times, and the newspaper reads like 1966. And remember, we had Janet 6 on trial, and some folks are still in denial about the KKK on your street, on my street, in the White House, in the next house, and on Wall Street. People are betting that your lives will never be the same. And yeah, they still play that game. 9/11, do you remember? Because out of sight is out of mind, because time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. And I want to know what that's going to be. Y'all right out there? Why you came. Remember that this world won't be the same. Remember who you are. Why you came. Remember you were born to change some things. Remember. Remember. Remember, it's up to you. Remember to do what you came to do. Remember the choice is up to you. Remember you are the one to share the love with everyone. Remember to fill up yourself with the sun. Remember who you are, why you came. Remember that this world will not be the same. Remember who you are, why you came. Remember that you came up to shake up some things. Remember. Remember who you are. Remember you are a shining star. play outside all day. We didn't have no problems in our works. See, braiding hair was how I made my money, or occasionally babysitting baby. Call me a hopeless romantic, but I remember when good men loved good women. See, love was the connection and it was free. It wasn't all about the money. See, patience was the key to our story. And to God went all the glory. What happened to you and me? This is some strange scenery. This is some strange scenery. Now, brothers are banging on the block trying to not get shot by the cops, and the madness don't stop. Babies are having babies and killing babies, and nobody cares about a thing except the money, the sex, the cars, the bling. 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 Where did our future go? I really want to know, can somebody tell me what happened to our story? What happened to our history? See, we used to say please and thank you, and we hold the door for the person standing behind you, and we had respect for our elders too. See, they had a story to tell that was long and strong, and community was the norm. See, they had a bigger picture, and it held us all. And we danced to Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. Now, brothers are banging on the block trying to not get shot by the cops, and the masses don't stop. Babies are having babies and killing babies, and nobody cares about a thing. Except the money, the sex, the cars, the bling, the money, the sex, the cars, the bling, the money, the sex, the cars, the bling, the money, the sex, the cars, the bling. Where did our future go? I really want to know, can somebody tell me what happened to our story? What happened to our history? See, drugs flooded our communities. It was all a part of the plan, you see. See, we should have started a youth league. We still sending babies off to war, and nobody cares about the poor. And everyone is in such a rush. What happened to the love? What happened to the L-O-V-E, 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 love? Sounding good. What happened to the L-O-V-E, love? What happened to the L-O-V-E, love? Sing it again, sound good. What happened to the L-O-V-E, love? What happened to the L-O-V-E, love? What happened to the L-O-V-E, love? See, at the end of the day, that vibration that you just felt, that's what's going to change this thing. That's what's going to make the difference. That's the change that we're looking for. That right there, you just tapped into it. Did you feel it?
Yes.
Did you feel it?
Yeah.
Then act like you felt it. Those are the things that's what's going to help us to conquer all this shit. Because it's just that. See, the thing of it is we forget about the power of our voices. We forget about the power of our hearts. We forget about the power of our language. See, there's a reason why you can speak things into existence. Speak your truth. Be authentically you. See, the world needs you to show up and do exactly what you came to do. I can't do it for you. She can't do it for you. She can't do it for you. And he can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. Each of us has that thing that's inside of us that we need to tap into to trigger the next thing. You know, like when you're in the back of the classroom and the instructor is teaching something and nobody gets it but nobody's saying anything? Everybody kind of got that,
You know that look I just showed you? That look, and then there's one person in the back that goes, can you explain that? I don't get it. And then there's this all over the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
That's right.
That's you.
That's right.
That's you. 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 You are the sign. But you gotta be the question. Can you do it? Ask why. Push back. Because at the end of the day, we are always going to be stronger together. This is a ploy. It's all a beautiful distraction. None of this shit works unless we believe it so. He just gonna be a politician like the rest of the politicians that we had. That's their job. They're political. Change always starts locally. Portland stood up and said, hell no, we ain't having nobody going out there doing all this crazy shit. Nope, that ain't how we live. We chillin'. We gonna smoke some weed. Everybody gonna sit down and we gonna talk about this shit. Because this gotta make some sense. Because clearly, we've been voting for him. When you look, just saying, look at the statistics. We were a Clinton state. We were not a Trump state. So, with that said, stop looking at everybody like you don't know what the hell you did. Stand up, be confident, and be like, okay, so now what we gonna do? Who got the plot of the land so we can grow some shit? Who gonna take the hemp and make some fibers so we can wear some clothes? Because we might need some new shit. I mean, by the time, we don't know what's gonna happen in the next 4 years. We have no idea, we don't know. However, what we do know is that we are confident in the strength of one another. Grab somebody by the hand and pull them up. Be that person that breaks that uncomfortable silence. Be that person that says, you know what? I don't know what to do either, but shit, we can figure it out. Be the change that you want to see. Remember, we're stronger together. Y'all right? Are you sure? I hope I gave you a little something, a little nugget that opens up something inside your heart that says, I can do this. I can walk up to somebody, I can smile. It don't cost me nothing. I can tell somebody, you know what? Yeah, I know, but we ain't gonna live in fear. I can tell somebody, you know what? If I got some bread and you got some peanut butter, together we got a sandwich. I'm just saying. You gotta do what you gotta do. We can do this. We've done this before. This ain't no new stuff. So go out and be the best you can be. So I have a couple of t-shirts left, so in the last two left, please take them off my hand. Somebody please buy them. Please buy them, because I don't want to carry them anymore. And then I have some more albums. The goal is to be able to get this second album off and running. And you know, I mean, I'd love to be able to get it on my good looks and smiles, but it don't work like that. Damn it. Damn it. Barter system. So I have albums there. The CDs are $10 and the t-shirts are $12. So thank you for coming out. Give yourself a round of applause. Burnt Tongue is the business. Y'all give it up for Tommy. Give it up for the video tech and the sound person. Give it up to your bartenders and the person sitting next to you. If you don't know, turn around and meet somebody with you. Shake a hand, make a friend, alright? Bless up. It's Black Butterfly, BLACQUE. BUTTERFLY. Merchandise, please. Find me. You can get digitally. You can find it anywhere. It's on iTunes. It's wherever. Just Google it. But I would prefer if you buy it for me because then I won't have to take those home. Thanks. Peace and blessings.